Still rolling. Take two.
Take two.
5, 4, 3.
And we're here with Kyle and Ben Hannah from Mountainhead. How are you guys today?
Good, man. Hey, how are you?
Very good. Yeah, really appreciate you guys coming here for an interview.
Thank
you guys have got some exciting stuff going on the last little bit.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about what you have released in the short amount that you guys have started this project?
Sure thing. So the first single we released is called "We Stole Your Head."
Which you did.
Yes. Oh, thanks. We gave it back to you though at the end of the song. I mean, that's the. But we released that in April 26th. That was the first song we released off this basically a 7-song EP. We've developed that over the past maybe would you say a year?
Yeah, we wrote for a while. We wrote like maybe 30 songs and kind of just condensed it into something a little more legible and kind of took the songs we liked further.
Right.
Yeah, we work with producer Darcy Yates. He plays bass in the Bahamas, that band there. He was our shit meter, basically, saying like, nope, that's dog shit, that's good, dog shit. Dog.
Right.
So that helped a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, we wrote more dog shit than we did good songs, but we condensed it down to what we think is a good little EP, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and yeah, with let's talk about "Stole Your Head" a little bit. Yeah, when I heard that song, like it was stuck in my head. Like you guys did not give it back after the first time. It was stuck in my head for multiple days.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a very cool psychedelic rock, electric sound to it. When you guys were writing this song, like what sound were you aiming for?
It wasn't really an aim, I don't think. Like we were playing a gig in another band before we had really formed this, and I was packing up my guitar, and the drummer was packing up his drums, and Kyle still had his bass, and he just kind of started playing that dum 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 dum, like the main riff with it, and I was like, hold on, what is that?
Yeah.
And then I just like, as we do, because it's the future, got my phone out and just like recorded the little snippet of it, and we brought it back to the studio and just kind of worked it. We got the verse done really quickly, and the vocal melody came along, and then as we were kind of deciding on a chorus, we just wanted to open it up a bit, and I was just kind of messing around with my guitar and came up with the chorus lead, which also became the vocal melody for the chorus, and then after that we were kind of off to the races.
Yeah, that started the whole thing. The whole style or whatever came from that song, which was cool. So we just kind of like dove deeper into that style because it wasn't there at all before.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like followed the muse or whatever they say. Followed the music.
Yeah.
And we just passed it along. Okay, that sounds good.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
'Cause, you guys have a whole brand almost around this song.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's very smart the way you guys are doing that.
Thanks.
Do you kind of want to tell us a little bit about brand? Might not be the right word.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
what you got, what you guys are going for right now.
How everything developed, even like the look and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like so that started with just like scouring Instagram, and we were looking for hats, and we were looking at like Gorham Brothers and like just like normal hatters around town. And then we just found these guys called Coupe de Tête on Instagram, and they do custom hats. And so we went and checked them out, and we went into their little underground workshop, and they're using all these like ancient machines to put this stuff together, like from the 1900s. And it was just like a cool vibe down there, and the guys were awesome. And so we were like, whoa, this is a no-brainer. So that's how that started. And then the denim, they also do this down here. Another guy called Ben via Vienna, he does it. So we got the jacket done, and then once we saw the jackets, we're like, well, we got to get jeans.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then the teeth.
That just kind of happened once we wrote the record. Our teeth
Yeah,
turned
just
gold.
like
I don't know what
I
happened.
started singing into the microphone, and all of a sudden, I thought my teeth were gonna fall out. They're turning yellow and then gold. Nah.
Now here we are.
Yeah, exactly. But that was a similar thing. We were playing a gig and we were thinking about it, just like goofing around. Like, wouldn't that be funny? We wrote this song that was really attitude-y, kind of. And then we were playing a gig and some guy was like vibing along to it. And like he's kind of sitting side stage and we took a break. Went and sat beside him and he smiles. He got a mouthful of gold. We're like, okay.
One of those
Where'd you
signs
get those,
that
man?
yeah.
Where'd you get that? And he hooked us up with his boy Mike.
Yeah.
So we went to
went to the hood and
yeah, exactly. Shadier part of town and
got our teeth done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, see, it sounds like you guys are really, like, you know, you're kind of going with the flow and like,
Exactly.
it's all building as like this comes together. Which
pretty
is,
much, man.
We're trying to keep our personalities and like our decisions out of it and kind of just, you know, letting whatever ideas pop into our heads form themselves instead of being like, oh, this is, you know, as soon as Ben, myself, gets too involved in something, you know, it's not right. It's like if I like sit down like I'm gonna write a song, the song's gonna suck. But if, you know, something just kind of flows through this channel, usually it'll be pretty cool. And it'll, you know, if an idea forms itself, it kind of, to me, and I think to Kyle, I think both of us just kind of let that happen, and usually it turns out better than if we were, you know, thinking that we're the cause of it all, you know?
right? That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, man. All you have to do is pay attention and just let things happen. It sounds all hippy dippy and weird, but like that's how creativity works, I think.
Yeah.
Like it's there. You got the butterfly net up in the ether.
Yeah.
And it's all there for anybody.
You just have to be the conduit to bring it into material reality, I suppose.
Yeah. Which is a cool thing. It's like an endless game you can play on Earth here, you know? Just like, wow, what's this about? What's that about? And just be curious.
Wow, that's an amazing answer to that. That's pretty cool.
Man. Yeah.
I saw too. You guys have kind of on the same vein. You guys have been studying like Indian music, playing the sitar and all that kind of stuff. Do you want to tell us about how that came into your life and how that influences things?
Similar situation.
Yeah, similar situation. Just like you know, read "Be Here Now" by Ram Dass, that classic book, and we were kind of getting into the Eastern vibe and Alan Watts and all this stuff. And I just decided one day, because I've been playing guitar for so long, I was like, I'm gonna play sitar. I'm gonna go buy one. And I went and I found a place to buy one, and I went there, and it was who I still learn from today, Sangeet Tanjali Institute of Music in Streetsville. Like I went there and I was like, okay, this is unreal. Like the space they had set up to learn from, and just, you know, everyone's heard Ravi Shankar play and other people play, but like when I heard my teacher play, I was like, this is something I had no idea about. Like this depth of Indian classical music is way different. So I kind of decided I didn't want to be another white boy hippie kid playing sitar. I was like, I'm gonna actually learn Indian classical music. So I've been studying that for the last 7 years, and Kyle's joined in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. It's like we start every day with that. We'll play sitar and have coffee, and you know, do some more Eastern-esque like vocal warm-ups and training, and you know, play tabla as well. Just, you know, the way I look at it is it's kind of like marrying the left and right brain with the east and west of, you know, how our heads work, like the hemispheres, like bringing it together, because it's a much different system there, and to complement the Western system is interesting, but it's also more in depth. Like there's no mystery to their music. It's all like, here it is. Like, don't get, it's all right here. Like,
Right.
Just pay attention and do it.
Yeah, it's more disciplined. Like you're sitting down, you're silent and playing and practicing, and like it's a disciplined thing. And then there's the rock and roll where you're going crazy, you're standing up and just sticking your tongue out, drinking beers. You know, it's like just opposites of each other.
That's very cool. And well, that's kind of seems like what your guys' music is. You know, it's like it's very calm. You know, it's not like you guys aren't going super fast, but at the same time, it's very rock and roll and wild.
Yeah.
Would you guys kind of attribute that to doing this kind of stuff, or where does that all come from?
For sure, there was, you know, like there's a couple people who are like, oh, I'm surprised you haven't put sitar in the music, but like the influence is there. It's just not right at the surface. You know, it's kind of like, you know what a mandala is? You know, like a kaleidoscope. It's like the way we're doing music is like we don't want anything to stick out in front of the whole thing. You know, like the guitar solo or the drum solo or the vocals going like kind of keeping it all contained in the same picture, so it's all spinning together.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
It's all one thing.
It's not the the blue color sticks out for its moment and the green color sticks out for its moment. It's just keep it all in that mandala and let it spin. And that's why like at least the bridges on the music are all kind of just intertwining layers working together instead of a guitar solo or whatever.
Yeah.
Just kind of keeping it all in this circle.
As I sit here wondering how I got in your head, how you said in your head, and if I sank down deep, wrapped inside of you, in your head, wonder dead, in your head, wonder.
In the video for We Stole Your Head, there's a lot of that going on where pictures they're staying still but they're moving or they're interlaced in between each other.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the creative behind making that video?
We went to the 3 Speed, which is a bar, I can't remember where it's at, and we met with Paul Wright, who did a lot of our photography. He's absolutely amazing. He kind of really helped, develop the characters and develop us with Mountain Head, because it's at first when you get in front of a camera, it's like, and then he was like, yo, like it's okay to be loose, and then we kind of developed from there. But so we met at the 3 Speed, and he had this concept that really complemented what we were trying to portray with We Stole Your Head. And it's kind of obviously he did the stills because he's a photographer. He wanted to keep it in that vein, but with the choruses especially, like the first chorus, it keeps switching between us and like these really hard to look at images.
Yeah.
And the middle is kind of more psychedelic and abstract, like the middle chorus, and the end is overly happy images. And it's kind of like all the same thing, like, we stole your head, like all this stuff is going to steal your head. It's going to take you away from who you are. It's going to take you away from, just paying attention, because you're going to get sucked into it and start to, get worried about this or get worried about that, or be too happy, be too sad, be too upset, be too angry. Like it's all like, just stay as still as you can, because everything is going to try to take you away from who you are.
Yeah, in the eye of the hurricane, right? Everything's madness around you, but you're still in the center, calm.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that whole thing again. Like, it's cool that we met these guys, and then just they're creative people too. So you just go and do your thing, man.
Yeah, try not to
without
be too
like two being like, we should do this or that.
Yeah.
And it all works amazingly. You just let people be who they are.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, and it sounds like you guys are building up a great team around you.
For sure.
I see you guys are working with David Peyote too. The
Oh, yeah.
tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's
cool.
That's
Yeah.
like 4 years ago. We met him through Reddit, and we've had a great bond when we initially met. He had a sitar, so I brought some strings and restrung it for him, and we met the day before getting tattooed and just went out and partied and kept in contact over the years. And when we were making this record, we always share music. He makes music too. He was like, yo, send me some audio files, and we were kind of like, sure, yeah, why not? But being like, oh, he's a brilliant tattoo artist.
Yeah.
We're like, well, what is he gonna know about mixing?
Yeah.
And because we had some heavy hitters lined up to mix the record, and they were kind of stalling the project a bit, and he was sending us these mixes that he was doing, and we're like, what is this? Like, are you serious?
Yeah, again, like.
So, we called the other guys and like, hey, sorry, but we got our guy. So David Cote mixed our record, and then he's been pretty heavily involved with some designing and some artwork. He did Gaslight's cover art, and we had all these objects branded around it, and he did all that. We just kind of tossed him a general vibe of what we were looking for, and him being a much better designer and Photoshop toolist, came back with some great art. We're collaborating with him right now for our next single, Soul Stain, which is, we're hoping early August to get that out. Just really depends on got to do the whole lead up thing with aggregators now.
Yeah.
But he's been heavily involved for years with us. We've been tossing art back and forth for years, and looking to collaborate, and it finally came together on this project, which I guess we finished the mixes in February. We flew to Montreal and just hunkered in his studio for 12 hours and
Drank beer and mixed music.
hung out with his
And
cat.
pet cats, yeah.
Awesome. Well, and so you guys before, I'm sure still, but before you like started with the Mountain, you guys were doing all your like lots of producing and mixing and all that stuff
Yeah.
yourselves.
Yeah.
What turned you guys from doing that to deciding now is the time? Like now is the time for Mountain Head.
Okay. Are we allowed to talk about anything on this?
Whatever you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Mountain, the big metaphor with us is we just finished a tour, and you know, it was really, the music was really jammy, and like, you know, we wrote, you know, half-assed songs because we had another band. It fell apart before this tour, and like the tour was booked for that whole album cycle. Band fell apart, so we're like, okay, tour's booked. Hired a different drummer, wrote all these songs, whatever. It was okay. We were kind of like, we got to do something else. So for whatever reason, we got connected with this Mayan shaman, and he was in town, and we smoked DMT. And a thing about that substance is, when you're at the peak of it, if you can pay attention, you can reset. You know, you can reset some things about yourself you don't like. You can reset. You know, it's such an impactful experience that you can kind of like cut some ties, some old neural pathways in your brain, your nervous system. And basically we did that, and we're like, all right, let's leave all this behind, forget these, you know, recording these ex-executives who have their new band at the studio, or these people, that people, or messing around with these other bands, sidemanning, like just like, Kyle, you and I know what we need to do. We've been doing it for years, but always getting diluted through other people.
Yeah.
So we did that, and that was the journey up the mountain, and kind of just walked away being like, we're doing this, and nothing's telling us we can, and nothing's going to get in between us to water down what we want to deliver.
The journey continues.
Yeah.
That's what life
Exactly.
is, man. Like you're always looking up the mountain like, what's next?
Yeah. Every peak you reach, there's another peak. Eternally, I believe. I don't know, but that's how life's been so far.
Yeah. So that was an interesting experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, and it sounds like you guys might not know exactly what's coming up in the future, but aside for the new single, what else do you see for Summerhead throughout the? What else do you see for Mountain Head throughout the rest of this summer?
Well, we did a Southern Souls video for our second single, Gaslight. We're gonna drop that tomorrow.
Gaslight, coming home, baby, get your mood right. Back and forth, making with your gaslight. Coming home, baby, get your mood right. Back and forth, lately with you.
And we did another one, but that single's not coming out for a little bit, so we'll keep that hush hush. But just gigging, really. You know, we're playing in Collingwood at Crowbar next Friday, and then we're doing, you know, Kingston, Guelph, that whole circuit. But mainly looking to do a good show in Toronto, probably near the end of August or September, and then, you know, look into touring more heavily after that. You know, once we get a couple more singles out, and perhaps we still haven't decided if we're going to drop the final 3 songs as singles or an EP, but once we've kind of unveiled more about our whole thing, then we're going to start hitting touring a little harder. But
Yeah.
right now, just doing some smaller festivals and gigging just around, doing the classic 401 circuit.
That's the new thing, though, right? The singles, right?
Yeah.
That like all these streaming platforms are around. I guess it's a new game. Like the album is like, if you can just keep going through the singles. I was watching a podcast the other day, and they were talking about Lil Uzi Vert,
Yep.
and his manager or the record label was like, "Well, when's he gonna drop an album?" And his manager's like, "He's not. He does 45,000 or a million, streams a week. He doesn't need an album."
Yep.
And the
It's
attention's
like-
staying there.
Oh, you just keep dropping singles every so often.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, you lose the like concept album. We're like, oh, this is one piece of content. But
Right.
that's how it is these days, man. I guess.
And you can also release the singles and then release
Yeah.
the record, because
Yeah.
our record is kind of a concept album, it all flows together. But
And somehow, right? Like that wasn't on purpose, but like when you listen to it, you're like,
we haven't
Okay.
decided when we're gonna drop the whole thing as a record. But you know, it's fun to make all these like, you can have a lot of fun with all the art around the singles. And
yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I really love what you guys are doing with the singles. Like you're not just releasing a song. Like you guys are releasing a single at a time, but with a whole a whole whack load of visuals around
Yeah.
it. Every single has come out with its own story and its own everything.
Yeah,
which,
trying to color code it too, you know?
Yeah.
Trying to, you know, see what that song invokes with the color and then drive it home.
Yeah.
That's cool. What kind of pushed you guys start doing it that way instead of putting all your songs together, putting out an album?
True.
You said you're watching the interview and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that definitely seems like the way the world is going. What are some other things you guys have seen that have shown you this is kind of the way to start doing things or pushed you in that direction?
Just seeing the, I mean, we were pretty tuned into the hip hop world while we were recording this, and just kind of watching how they were doing things, and again, branding content around a single instead of a record, because it's like you can have so much, like you're saying, we pump out all this stuff per single. It's just, seeing what's cool and then finding out what we think is cool and trying to marry those things, as well as just the playlisting and all that with Spotify. It seems like the digital platforms appreciate the single. I mean, press, I think, probably hate it because you're going to be getting an email every 2 weeks, new single, new single, new single. Like, we covered you already. Like, what do you want us to do with this? Like, you got 14 singles out and you've hit them up in a span of 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But, the other thing that we've been trying to do with the songs is just, they get playlisted, and that's cool. You can kind of start to see what hits with what audience, and what genre, because we don't really know what genre we are. The press has said some things, and you get playlisted like Gaslight's on the Indie All Stars playlist on Spotify, but we still your heads on Rock Your Block. So it's like you're hitting two different avenues. You can kind of see, okay, what's going to be hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
your audience?
It's like the audience and you are becoming this machine that are informing each other. It's like a Frankenstein monster thing going on.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, are we going here? No. Oh, how about here? And everyone's like, yeah, boo. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
go to the yes. So it's interesting, man, to just see, because how much information there is out there now because of the internet and how connected we are.
Absolutely.
To see where your reflection is, basically.
Right, yeah, that has changed the whole game. Before a couple people got to see all the numbers, and now everybody gets to see
That's
all
right,
the numbers.
man. That's right, man.
Yeah. Cool, okay, well I think I'm going to end that there. Do you guys have any last message to share with your fans before we close this off?
Throw your mountains up.
Go
Mountain
downstairs.
head, yeah.
See you out there.